Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will be able to grow your business and make you that confident leader to take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I'm very pleased to bring with you my guest, Tommy Kilpatrick. And let me tell you about Tommy. His approach to dealing with bank-issued alleged credit card debt is by challenging its legitimacy and doing so, he sends letters to the bank. According to Tommy Kilpatrick, he believes that bank state-issued alleged credit card debt may be categorized as an alleged debt, meaning it suggests it's legally disputable or even unenforceable if handled correctly. So we're going to talk about how you can nuke your credit card debt. I want you to please join me in welcoming my guest, Tommy Kilpatrick. Tommy, this is a subject that's probably resonating with many people today. Sadly, but true, I guess. So I always start with two easy questions. The first question is, what part of the country do you live? Where do you call home?
Well, I used to call California home, and then after the 12 years back, the wife said, "Get out and take the dog with you." So I went on a trek all across the country and ended up in Maine, and I was there for about 10 years on a farm. And then again, shift happens, and make sure you pronounce the F, but shift happens, and found myself on the outside, and I'm now calling the Philippines my home. So I am here to teach farmers how to build dome houses, vertical gardening, and I'm helping to open up medical clinics for them here. So I'm on a mission from God. So here I am.
Wow. I've interviewed probably 3 or 4 people that have moved to the Philippines and call it now their home. And they love it there, yeah, for sure. You talked about earlier.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
It's on the warmer side like it is there in Georgia. But yeah, I like the Maine weather a little bit better. But there's some cold every once in a while. I'll take a swim and I'll get out and have the wind blow on me, and that's cold. So 20 degrees difference is cold to them. So 75 is a cold wave to them.
Oh, wow. So you just touched a little bit about what you do and also now what your life mission is. But talk about that journey that really was your aha moment about why you help people get out of credit card debt, and then also touch a little bit about why you chose to do this new mission to Philippines. Very interesting. Probably another podcast with you.
Sure. I kind of start with my story. I had written a book on health and healing, and in 2004, I was given a contract for an infomercial, and so I was test marketed on radio, and I was planned for about 6 months. So I had to be on all times, at days and during the night too. So I lived on my credit cards, and I was promised about $100,000 a month. And so then about 6 months into it, one of the talents, he got in trouble with the FTC for making false claims in his weight loss book. And so it came down hard on the company, and so they canceled all the new talent. And so I was left with $85,000 of credit card debt and nothing to show for it. So that put me a little bit of a tailspin.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
about a month later, you come out of it a little bit. And so I woke up thinking about my dad being a CPA and my study in the college to be a CPA. And I realized the bank never had an invoice. Now, they couldn't claim there was a debt because they're not a merchant. Only merchants can give you a credit card because they're taking the products and services. So then I thought back about my banking class, and I remember reading the Modern Money Mechanics on page 6. It says there that banks, to make loans, they accept a promissory note first. So you have to sign a note that you promise to pay them. Then they actually write numbers in your checking account. So they do not take money out of the economy. They don't take money from somebody else. They cannot take the depositor's money and give it to you. It's just a false belief that most of the public has about how banks work. And so I realized there was no debt. And my father-in-law at the time was a judge and an attorney, and we had lots of conversations about contracts and how fraud undoes any contract. So I had no contractual agreement with the bank. So I got motivated by somebody on YouTube back then about going to federal court because they said it's so easy and they're so good to you. The judges are nice because you're such a pro se, you don't know what you're doing. They're very lenient. Well, I filed 3 federal lawsuits in Los Angeles against the banks, and I laid all my argument out in a pleading, and we were going for a deposition date. And then all of a sudden, I was called in by the judge, and he put me up there, and he said, "Okay, Mr. Kilpatrick, do you have a credit card?" Well, let me start at the beginning. It was a gift card. No, no, no. Pull your card out. Pull my card out. So what's it say on there? Credit card. So you have a credit card, don't you? And what am I going to say? No, it doesn't say credit card on it. Oh, then you got charges. Well, not really. It's my money. And I don't want to hear it. So he threw the case out. All 3 were thrown out all at once. And so I walked out going, well, that didn't work. And so about a month later, I looked at my credit report, and the 3 banks was off my credit report. They're gone. And I never got any harassment, not got a letter from the banks at all, nothing. And I did not get a 1099-C. You see, that's what happens when you take a loan out and you don't pay it back. The bank notifies the IRS that you got a gain. You actually got income of $100,000, let's say, and
Mhm.
you didn't pay it. So the bank gets to take the deduction. They did not take an $85,000 deduction off of me. So that means right there was no loan. They made no loss. So, and then a friend of mine, she got had a charity. She was, it was a dormant, inactive. So I rebranded it to credit repair. And some people had credit card debt, so I helped them too. So I've helped about 1,000 people, and that was about simple, just sending a letter to the bank, and they would actually go away. So that's a kind of a quick story of how I kind of got in the aha moment. Would be when I was in court and I had my CPA expert witness testify, and they got it. And so we would most likely would have a adjournment, and that's when the other side would come over to me and say, "Let's just settle this." I said, just click it so it's off the credit report," and that's what would happen to my clients. So it was a lot of fun. So they knew, I knew, and so they don't want the secret out. So they usually will have you sign a non-disclosure agreement. That's why nobody knows about this. But I kind of see
Mhm.
myself as an accountant that has unveiled a big, huge, massive worldwide fraud. So that's what I see myself as, someone who pulls the curtain back and have you do an aha. Well, let me just say, you don't need to believe anything I have to say. I'm a doubting Thomas, so I encourage your audience to be a doubting Thomas too. I will send you some links to put in the show note so they can look up the same law that I'm talking about and take this podcast to your CPA and have he or she tell you I'm right. Don't
Mhm.
listen to me. Just ask your CPA, and that'll be the first time they've ever thought about this. They're going to go, oh yeah, there is no invoice, and yeah, there is no promissory note, and then have your attorney, do the case law about how contracts undo all fraud undoes all contracts. So there you go. Just send a letter to the bank, and it'll be all wiped out.
Okay, so we really kind of we talked about how you nuked your credit card debt, but how do I know which credit card is a real debt and which is alleged debt?
Right. So if you go into court or you respond to the bank and say, I have a debt, you've got a debt, you've got the problem, I can't help you. But we watch the news and we see a bank robbery, and all of a sudden they say alleged. Well, I know the guy's name. He dropped his wallet. We can see it right there. No, no, it's got to be alleged because we are assumed innocent until proven guilty. So
Mhm.
if we change that one word and add alleged, now we force the bank to produce the evidence that there's actually a debt.
Mm.
So the difference between that is there are true credit cards. So I'm not saying what I'm doing is a scheme to get out of debt. It's only for a particular kind of bank issued credit card debt. So when you look on the back of your card, it's going to say issued by Bank of America or Citibank or Wells Fargo, then that is a phony one. So how do you know if that Amazon or the Walmart card is a phony card? Just look at the back. And if it says the bank there, then you can challenge it. So that's how you can, because the bank never has an invoice. That's the
Mhm.
important thing, is that the bank was never a merchant. They didn't have goods and services that they provided to you and you didn't pay for it. So a real credit card is kind of like, think of like a tire store. You need tires, so you go
You
to the
buy
tire
them
store,
all.
but you don't have the money. Yeah. So they say, oh, why don't you apply for the in-store credit card and see if you're approved? Well, hey, you are approved. Fantastic. So they put the tires on and you drive away and didn't pay. At the end of the month, you get a statement. That's correct, a true statement that says you owe the money, but you also have an invoice. So you
Mhm.
play the game like I'm suggesting with the bank, and you say, where's the invoice? They have it. There's an outstanding unpaid invoice, and you owe that money. You have to pay that. Now, that's the difference between the bank that doesn't have an invoice and a true store that does. So that's all you got to do is look at the back of the card and see if it says bank. And it can be anywhere in the world too, Deutsche Bank or Lloyd's of London, things like that. So that's how you can tell the difference between a real credit card and an alleged credit card.
So then some of the credit cards, you might have a balance that is not terrible, if you will, but then you don't pay it off. So then now you have interest and interest and interest. And we see that too in student loans, but that you do sign a promissory note for student loans. So for sure,
Right.
different discussion. But a credit card is revolving line of credit. Um, so that's a loan rather than a credit card debt, right?
See, now we go to the argument. We've had, first of all, an argument as a credit card. Okay, now that they are not a, a merchant that could actually issue a credit card, now we have to agree that they don't have an invoice. Now the argument is that's a loan. Okay, great. That's what banks do, is they're all involved in a loan. So if you walk into a bank with no money and you want to walk out with money, besides a gun, and I'm not talking about that, but when you want to walk out with money, you get a loan. And so what you do is you apply. Let me ask you a question, Vicki. If you apply for a loan and you get turned down, do you still get the loan?
No.
No, you don't get the loan. You're denied. Okay. If you're approved of the loan, then you go to the bank and you fill out loan documents. You have to prove that you have an income to be able to prove that you can pay this back. You
Mm.
also have to have collateral, like the house, the car, or something like a personal loan that you actually are going to pay back. The other thing is that you have to have a credit report that shows a history, and your credit score is going to indicate the interest rate you're going to pay. The last thing you have to sign is a promissory note, and that is a critical thing. So in the show notes, it's going to be a link right there. It takes you to Wikipedia. You just type up modern money mechanics. You get the whole manual, the same manual I read in my college course. Just go to page 6, and it actually makes a joke that the banks don't have any money. They can't loan money out to people. And then it says what they do is they accept your promissory note and they basically put numbers into your checking account.
Mm,
So the question is, did you sign a promissory note? Well, not for your credit card. You applied and they mailed it to you. So
mm,
the question is, how can I nuke my bank issued alleged credit card?
mm. Right, right. So whenever you, when I first got my, you, you talked about early on this gift card thing. So uh, what's the correlation with that? You received a credit card in the mail and it was a gift card? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm the only crazy person who thinks this. But see, banks want to get customers, right?
Mm,
And they advertise, and it costs money. Years ago, they would induce you with a prize like a toaster or a wall clock. Now, I was also a bank had put in a newspaper said, come into our bank and deposit $25, and in 90 days, we'll match it. And I went, great. I put $25 in, waited 91 days, went in and took out $50 and closed the account. Now, I got a question for you, Vicki. Did I steal anything from the bank?
no, they told you you
No.
were
No, they told me that if you stay here 90 days, not 91, but 90, and I didn't rip the bank off. They made an offer. I took it, and there was a guy, and it's in my links I'll send to you. There's a guy on YouTube that says he's made $361 doing just what I said. He finds the banks that offer a cash, and you put the cash in the bank, wait the period, draw the money out, and then close the account. And he's up $361. That's no different than a $500 credit card you got in the mail. You applied, you were accepted, and they mailed it to you. They gave you the card. So when you say the word gave, that's a gift. It has no strings attached, and it's a gift. So what you do with your gift card? Well, you went to, let's say, Home Depot, and you bought a toilet. Let's say it's a golden throne. So you're walking out with a toilet, but the person at the door says, "Hey, did you pay for that?" And you have a receipt. And we know that Home Depot was paid that night or the next day. But are you ever going to get a statement from Home Depot saying you owe us money for that toilet? No,
No,
they've
because
been
you
paid.
called.
How did they get paid? They got
Mhm,
paid by the bank. Well, where'd the bank get the money? It's from their advertising budget. It was all planned to get you to be a customer. So
mhm,
what did you do? You got a statement at the end of the month and you thought it was a bill. But think about it. You get a statement from your checking account. Is that a bill? No, it shows your beginning balance, what you deposited, your checks and debits, and
mhm,
what you have left. And that is what a statement is. It's exactly the same thing with your bank issued alleged credit card debt. That account is just a summary of what happened. So you felt that you had a loan, you had revolving credit, you're a good person, you're an honest person, and you write a check out for $500 and mail it to the bank. That is the very first time the bank has ever collected money from you. But remember, the banks are involved in loans. So if you have no money, you take money out of the bank as a loan. If you have money and you take it to a bank and open up a check-in or a savings account, you're actually loaning the bank money. I know it's a
mhm,
strange concept, but that's in your show notes. It's it's
mhm,
it's what happens. So you loan the bank money if
mhm,
you have money you deposit. So it's a loan. Every subsequent purchase has been with your own money. So what you have been doing has been forcibly having a bank make you refill your checking account at the end of each month. And then every month you're using your debit card. What debit card? I know it says credit card on it. So when it arrives, it's a gift card. And the first time you sent money in, that's when it converts to a debit card. And it's so
mhm,
easy to say for people to understand. So every purchase you have made has been with your own money.
mhm,
Now, the bank makes money on fees. And on average, you can look this up. I did it about 2 months ago. It's $23.04 on average. So if a bank has 1 million card members, they're making $23 million a month, which I figured out to be about a fourth of their profit on a free checking account. They're charging you $23 for a free checking account, and it's your own money that's in the account. Yeah, they had to front it, just like they did for me in that $25, but
Yeah.
they know they're going to make $23.04 each month. So
This is quite interesting.
So
You,
how you can get out of the debt is to write a letter
so what do you
asking the
say
bank
in this
to,
letter? Yeah, tell
because
us what we put in this letter.
yeah, the letter is very simple to write. All you're asking to do is to have the bank close your free checking account associated with that account, with the card. And you're going to go, what checking account? See, so that's what banks do, is they take your promissory note and they open a free checking account and put numbers in there, and that's what you're using. So all you got to do is type up consumer price index or inflation from 1776 to present. And on Google, you'll see an image and it shows flat. We're talking from 1776 to about 1933 has been flat. Ever since then, it's been straight up. And that's exactly when the Federal Reserve finally got complete control of the banking system. They got started back in 1913, but it took a long time for them to squeeze other banks out of business. And that's what I think the Great Depression was all about, is they forcibly raised the interest rates, forced it into a depression, forced all these banks out of business. And now they're able to dominate. Because ever since then, when a bank writes numbers into account, it's fiat, and they're still doing it today. And we have this rampant inflation ever since 33. So what we write in that letter is very simple. Have your CPA write a letter and say, first of all, there was never an invoice. So there was never a merchant. The bank never offered you goods and services. 2, there was never a signed promissory note, so there is no loan. 3, you have your attorney send a letter saying, this is the case law, and what it is that fraud undoes all contracts. So my client is claiming you fraudulently deceived my client into thinking that they were getting a credit card when the CPA just said you don't have a credit card and there isn't a loan. So you have deceived my client, and that undoes all contracts. So there is no contractual agreement you have with the bank, because it says, oh, but I use the card, I have to follow the terms and conditions. Well, if it's fraud, no, you don't. So what I've had in that letter, though, is I want to have the lawsuit. And that's what I filed in federal court, and explains exactly to the court what's happening step by step. Then you have your discovery. Now, normally you would file a lawsuit and then wait and you play back and forth. A year later, you're doing discovery. No, I want the bank to see everything on the very first time they see this. So they have the production of documents, they have the interrogatories for questions, they'd have admissions. But here's the fun part. There's a date for a deposition, usually 10 days after they answer the complaint. So you anticipate when they would possibly answer. And remember, this is not even filed with a court. There is no docket number. You don't spend the money in court. You don't even want to go to court. All you want to do is have that court paper sent to the bank so they know what's coming. So if they answer the complaint in about 10 days, they're going to have a deposition. Someone in the bank is going to have to come forward with the proper documentation of a debt or an invoice, promissory note. Where is it? And then what you do is you have an injunction. This is the important thing that separates me from anybody and everybody else, is the injunction. What happens if you are being harassed by some company that says, you owe us money, and you go to court and you ask for an injunction. You're asking a judge to stop this behavior, and they have to prove that there's a debt. And if they can prove there's a debt, then the injunction falls away. But that's by filing the injunction, and then And you can only do that after they've answered the complaint. I know, but you send it to them now so the bank knows what's coming. They know if they answered this complaint, they're going to be hit with this immediately, this injunction, and they're going to have to be forced to bring an invoice or a copy of the certified copy of the promissory note. And they don't have that, so they'll be held in contempt of court.
Okay.
So that's what you do. You send them a brick. And then once that attorney for the bank sees this, they're going to be telling the bank, you know what? It's going to cost us at $500 an hour, about 20,000, 30,000 just to start. And now we got a deposition. We have this injunction that's going to be filed, and you have to produce an invoice. You have to have an outstanding unpaid invoice or a certified copy of the promissory note. And you have to have a person who's be inside the bank saying that you actually have a debt. Well, where is it? And they don't have it. So all we want them to do is a click. One click and it's off your credit report. And you don't have to worry about anything else. Now, in the paperwork, you're going to say, if you file a 1099-C with the IRS, we're going to file a 3949-A, which notifies the IRS of a fraudulent filing. So now they're involved in tax fraud. So they're fraudulently giving you a 1099, trying to tack you a tax deduction when they didn't have any loss at all. So it's a lot of fun.
I'm sure that we could speak days on this, but I just want to encourage the audience. If you have questions, please do. At the end, Tommy is going to give you his email address and the website, as always, provided. Get in touch with him, ask him those questions. And, I know 100 are going through my mind now too, but time has run out. So as always, let me share my screen that has the contact information. If you're just listening, everything will be in my show notes on my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, as well as my findyourleadershipconfidence.com. So the website is DIY-debt-relief.com. Again, DIY-debt-relief.com. I'm going to turn it over to Tommy. He has a free book and offers a free 15-minute consultation. And he'll share what he has out on that DIY-debt-relief.com website. Tommy?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So explain what the book is all about, the free book. What does it have in it for them?
Yes, please. Yes, thank you. The book is, if they sign up for a free 15-minute free consultation, I will send you my $69 book. It's called Forgive and Forget: How to Nuke Your Credit Card Debt. And it's available on Amazon if you wish to purchase it. But all you can do is have a free, quick little conversation with me, and I'll send you over a copy. It's a lot of fun. Okay. And your CPA will very much enjoy reading my little chapter on the court happenings, because that's what happened to me, and it also happened to my expert witness CPA. So, yep, it's a lot of fun.
Super. Tommy, thanks so much for taking time to chat with us today.
Yeah.
As I said, this is a topic that sadly is one that touches a lot of people's lives. And if you can help just one or two people or thousands, we've done our job today. So please, everyone, if this is something you want to know more about, do take advantage of that 15-minute free consultation and get that book. Hook up your CPA with the information and see if you can nuke your credit card debt. As always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling, signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.